Okay, good morning. Thank you very much. It's privacy and security is so private that I will not speak about it. We will have 3 or 4 other lawyers here to speak, and I would say that the main topics are crucial to all countries. And I thought that it would be better to speak about something that it has been incorporated in our law specifically, which is how can legal entities use e-certification. Since '96, at least from our civil codes, we have such a wide definition of documents that we could also include there in the main definition of document, electronic documents. However, after '99, with the first act on digital signatures and electronic documents, it was previous to the directive. It was some months previous to the directive. We have the first definition of e-document. Okay, and e-document was a document created through electronic data processing. So you see, it is such a broad definition again that we have to consider that we are facing a special document, but always a document. So conclusions: until from 1966 until '99, we could always consider e-documents as documents. Afterwards, electronic documents have an express provision on the Portuguese law. So, if we are dealing with the electronic documents as documents, we should consider also that documents made within the scope of a company should also be accepted on or by e-forms, okay? And on our company's code before 2006, we should obtain this conclusion from the main structure of our law, meaning the Act of '99 on digital signatures that could lead us to conclude that companies' acts or documents could be made by electronic means, but the revision, deep revision on 2006 of the company's code, it has been specifically stated that the need of written form, written document or signed document in relation to any act, so everything which is made within the scope of a company is met, even in the case where the paper of the written signature are replaced by any other form or any other means of identification. And the final provision, the final condition is durability, authenticity and intelligibility. So, conclusions. Even before 2006, acceptance of the use of e-solutions within the scope of acts of the companies. After 2006, it was expressly allowed, but from the last condition of the code's provision, I would say that it is requested digital signatures. Now, timestamping was not a specific provision on this company's code, and there are many discussions in Portugal, namely on shareholders meetings, where we can have many shareholders contacting from several countries or several cities in Portugal, and we are discussing now, and namely on courts, that how can we find the applicable place of the shareholders meetings, which was not defined in our revision of the company's code. Still, as you can see, we would say that we have some problems, but we already have a legal framework to accept these electronic files. Now, if we are going to use the revision of the '99's Act on Digital Signatures, which is the Decree Law 62/2003, which have transposed the '99's directive, it is clearly stated there that legal persons can have a digital signatures. And in the definition of the certificate holder, the definition is it means a legal or natural person identified in a certificate as the owner of the signature creation device. And after this definition, it has also been provided that the qualified electronic signature shall be uniquely linked to a single natural or legal person. This means that not only from the Civil Code, not only from the Companies Code, but also from the Electronic Documents Act, we have express references to the use of electronic signatures by a company. However, there is a problem. We did not have established a specific representation of legal persons regime, which means that we will need to use, in this case, the rules of the Companies Code. And the conclusion is, it is the incumbent upon the certifying entity to assess if the signature ensures the intervention of natural persons who act on behalf of legal persons. This means that, obviously, the certification service provider has here a very important role, as in general on the issuance of certificates and digital signatures. So, when we think about Companies Acts, we can have three scenarios, three main scenarios. The first one is there is no problem. There are no problems if the legal person can be binded only by one signature. This can happen by the articles of incorporation, the bylaws, or by the issuance of a power to somebody to act on behalf of the company. In these cases, if the certificate has the identification of the user, the extent of the powers, and the admissibility of acts to be used, I would say that from the legal Portuguese point of view, there are no constraints to the use of a legal person's signature, e-signature. Now, besides that first scenario, we can have a second scenario, is that from my personal point of view, I consider that for general administration acts, we can there is no mandatory to have several signatures to bind the company, to send a letter, to sign a e-invoice, an electronic invoice. In these cases, we don't have any problems. Where we have major constraints is on documents requesting multiple signatures of legal representatives. And in these cases, I would say that it is very difficult that a single electronic legal person signature can meet the requirements of the Companies Code. The problem is that this third scenario is the most common scenario, and for I would say major acts of the company, it is very unlikely that according to our legal framework we could use this e-certificate. Conclusions: Portuguese legal framework allows the use of legal persons certificates. We can use also these certificates within the scope of Company Acts. There are some difficulties on the representation. However, I would say that this could open a new business model. Is if we are going to discuss in these 2 days the eID card, we should also discuss the legal person national eID, as we have already in Portugal legal person's card, and we even have a legal person's criminal registration certification. So I would say that for the future we could think also about this. Thank you very much.